Very pleased to have the CEO and owner of Predator Group, Karim Belhaj, with us. Karim, thanks for coming.
Pleasure, Ted.
Okay, and Predator, we see this name everywhere in pool, and I don't think a lot of people really know the people and the faces behind the company, and that's why this is a lot of people have been looking forward to this interview. Tell us, first of all, I know you have a very interesting background. Tell us a little bit about your background. I know you started out way at the bottom of the ladder at Predator, and now you're at the top. How did this all happen for you?
Actually, I was born, I grew up in France. I was a huge pool buff. I used to, after school, play 5-6 hours a day. And sometimes I would skip class a couple times to go play pool with my friends, right? In France, in Paris, in a club called the Shoot Again. And on the side, I would sell cues, playing all the French tour. And I was a big fan of Predator in the mid-90s. Luckily, I was able to get an internship in my favorite startup at the time, Predator, in 1997.
How old?
20 years ago. I was 20.
You got a internship
at the company. Yeah.
At the company,
Yeah,
and they were based where at the
Jacksonville, Florida, and we were 7 employees at the time. And I got along with the owners great. We played pool on weekends, at nights after work. We brainstormed ideas, and they invited me to stay. So I made a deal with them. They just had to pay for my college, and I would come back, move from Paris to Jacksonville, Florida, and I did that in '98 permanently. So I've been at Predator for now 20 years, yeah.
Right, so you started out with the internship, and then you came back after college. You got a master's?
No, actually, after the internship, so I went to finish my AA in France, and then came back to do my bachelor in the US in marketing and international business. And after I graduated on Predator, I was working at Predator full-time and going to college full-time. And at the end of my degree, they said, "No, Karim, we want you to stay." So I said, "Well, guys, I want to start my own company." They saw the entrepreneurial side that I had, that I developed over the years, and they said, "Well, we'll give you ownership. We cannot pay you much. We'll give you some ownership in the company." So I grew my ownership in the company after they let me buy in over the last 20 years, and they invested in the ideas, the vision I had. And they let me build the team the way I envisioned the future Predator team, and here we are.
So tell us, what was the company like then, and then your vision, what was your vision for it, and where did you take it?
Well, the guys, the founders already did a fantastic job, I think. The Predator brand I thought was really cool. And the company was an R&D lab, really. They're just making things here and there. It was not the proper structure business. So, which means that that model was not sustainable. So we turned it into a business. So I went to find people, consultants around to help us out, grow and change the business. And we took the idea of how to make a better cue, which was the principle at the beginning, into how to create a great pool playing experience, which really changed our paradigm. Right, you go from thinking about just the cue to thinking about the player, the table, the balls, the fans around, and the cue. So that makes you redesign, for example, the grip. The grip technologies that we have in Predator, we don't market them too much, but they're way ahead of. We had a few innovation in grips in the last 10 years to help players loosen their hand and help them actually straighten their stroke. Simple things like that we don't talk too much about.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. I mean, and so now you were telling me before the pool boom in the 80s and the 90s. It was big back then, but then the sport has been on a downswing, but Predator has as a business has gone up. How did you manage that to pull that off in an environment that's so economically difficult?
You're right. 80s, 90s was the boom, and Predator got started at the end, and we had to reinvent ourselves many times. We're pool players. That's one of the things that makes Predator different than many other companies. We have 5, 6 very big fans of the game, and everyone else enjoys the game, but are passionate about the brand, on what we stand for, right? So having a bunch of passionate people, passion fuels energy. So they'll take on any challenge, right? So the idea basically is, okay, how do we reinvent ourselves this year? What are we going to do next year that's going to be different, right? And keep that cycle going.
What was missing from the game? You said that you're trying to make it this whole experience. So what did you see that was missing? Okay, grip technology, these sort of things. What other things did you try to create for the sport through the cues and all
we
the other things?
reinvented the butt. We made it more stable, straighter over time. The way we worked with inlays. If you compare some of our product compared to others, way sharper, tighter. We really invested a lot of technology to make that cue more solid, and that two-piece cue, the butt and the shaft, feel like a one-piece cue. And again, that came from the fact of the idea of, let's design a product that is an extension of the person. So it needs to be an extension of the arm, so it needs to feel solid, no negative vibration, right? Number one. Number two, let's look at what are people wearing. Let's have the approach. So I went and studied a little bit what they did in automobile industry, in the fashion industry, in the guitar industry, the golf industry for technology, and I realized that, okay, pool is a mix of two different worlds. The golf industry for performance, and guitars, the wood, the sound, that emotional appeal of the guitar that's unique to that person, on the touch of fashion. So we changed the way we manage our product portfolio, and we studied people like you to figure out, hey, what would be a great cue for that person? What would they connect? That's something that feels unique and special to them. That when they play, it helps them play better also. So you have the emotional, and you have the performance, which would mean, how do we make the pocket bigger without touching the pockets?
So obviously you must have been quite successful. I mean, is Predator the largest cue manufacturer or the most popular in the world today? How does it rank? Let's talk a little bit economics here. I mean, I don't need your numbers and your books, but are you the biggest?
Well, let's answer that in a few parts. So number one, I'll say, you see, like you said initially in your introduction, you see Predator everywhere. It's because we invest in the sport. Right? You see Predator everywhere because we invest in players, and the sport that gives us so much, we have to give back, we have to feed it. It needs to be a positive cycle. And we sponsor a lot of events all around the world. I think we're the most international billiard company or American billiard company out there, even outside cues. And in terms of size, people say we're the biggest, we're the largest, we're the strongest brand in billiards. I try to make sure we get better every day. See, I have one principle in the company, is we don't want to be best in class. We want to design our class. So I don't benchmark other companies to see how are we doing. Because the reality is, we're less than 30 people in the organization. But those are not people, there's an amazing team, it's a family. Yeah. You hang out with our team, you'll feel it.
How many countries is Predator sold in?
I don't know.
All over
60, 70, 80, all over the world.
All over the world.
CQs, I traveled to Thailand, Bangladesh, Philippines, Japan, Korea, Morocco, Italy, France, Venezuela, Brazil, US. Every time I walk in a pool club, I see a Predator cue. People don't know who I am.
Right. I'm always fascinated with business and how companies, when they grow, how they maintain that quality, because obviously this is what you don't even compare yourself to other companies. You're just so laser focused on quality and doing what you do, and people recognize that as the best. But how do you maintain that level of quality when you grow and become popular as you are?
So a couple things. Number one is the ownership of the business. The leadership of the business has to be focused on the mission, right? And that mission needs to be transcended in everybody within the organization and the partners of the organization, whether it's distributors, supplier, partners, and others. Our mission is very simple, right? Bring innovation and inspiration to cue sports around the world. to fans. Innovation, inspiration. Make the game more interesting, more accessible, more fun, help people win matches, games.
Okay, you talk about innovation. Let's talk about your latest innovation. I mean, it's almost revolutionary, the RYO shaft and carbon fiber. Tell us how many years this was in the making. I think from what I heard, it's an incredible story.
So Predator was started in 94, I started in 97. In 98, I saw the first carbon fiber prototypes in our shop.
1990.
98. But they didn't play too well. We tried fiberglass, we tried carbon. There are some companies that were calling their cues carbon fiber, but actually they were using graphite and fiberglass and mixed with wood, which was not a good product to help a player play better. And so Paul, who you met
Yes.
at the last event,
Your partner.
my partner, who is the chief magician of the company, took on the carbon challenge. And we traveled around California, Mexico, went to visit golf companies, aero companies, I mean all kind of carbon manufacturers, and could not find any product that was as difficult to make as a pool cue shaft or Karim cue shaft, because they didn't need to be consistent all around. They didn't need to have that special sound or feel that players connect to, or that's important because it helps them dial their game, right?
Yes.
So we went into the aerospace industry, did research there, and found a way to mix that know-how with our know-how of pool. It took a lot of investments, and we had to expand actually our R&D center in Boston area, where we make those shafts one by one, just a few hundred a month, because we want them to be just perfect.
What were you looking for, like, other than that? Okay, the sound and the feel, but what effect, deflection? This sort of. What exactly were you trying to accomplish?
Three things. Optimal feel. Remember, it's the 70 to 60% of feel is sound, right? And so we had to make a product that's really solid, but that can communicate back to players. So feel. Deflection, lower deflection is important. So wherever you hit the ball, basically the ball goes straight. It's like making the pocket bigger without touching the pocket. So a beginner uses a Predator RYO shaft, it doesn't have to adjust for deflection. And the third element was power, where you get more spin.
I noticed
So
that.
one of the toughest things to get to master in the game is spin. I don't know, have you and I ever played together?
Maybe shot a few balls over, a few places at tournaments. Yeah.
You tried a RYO, right?
I have one. Yeah.
How was your draw with it?
I couldn't believe it. You play with an ordinary cue or something like that, for a mid-level player, it's sometimes you can mess up the screw shot, right? But with the RYO, it is amazing. It's like right there for you, which also helps your mindset, right? That it's there for you. It's not
Confidence. It's a mind game. You see, again, Paul and I played hours and hours and hours and hours of pool a week in our younger years, and even now when we have time and we're busy. And that's the thing again, is this is a mind game. How can we help the player's mind? More confidence because he can trust the product. Now that's key to a great game.
How's the response been from players?
Fantastic. So we're trying to expand just slowly. So we're going to expand the facility in the coming months. Players loved it. Some hated it, but they're curious about it. They say, "Oh no, I love my wood. I don't want to change." And slowly they're starting to let me try it. Huh? It doesn't feel like those old graphite cues I saw in the supermarket.
Yeah.
That's what I was. I thought it was just a fishing rod. No, it's not. It's a supercharged F1 or NASCAR.
Is there a fine line? I don't know. I know in golf they actually have people testing and say, well, this is illegal. You can't have these kind of clubs that will make the ball go 30 yards longer, and certain balls that have to be made a certain way. Is there a fine line here in pool about yeah, and some kind of laws or rules that you can't cross?
There will be, eventually. Right now, we're staying within the parameters of what makes sense. Like I told you, I care about promoting the game a lot. So we make sure that we control the output of the product. But in the future, we had talks with the WPA recently about setting standards, the World Pool Association, about setting standards for product. And we should standardize more of the products that are there, whether it's cues, balls, or tables, to make the game more consistent around the world. And that's one of the things I think we'll be working on very soon.
So okay, you spent almost 20 years and all this money, millions pouring into this product. You have the product. It's a big success. Now what? What's next for Predator? What can we look forward to 5 and 10 years down the line? Where do you go from here now that you created the ultimate cue, it seems like?
Well, start with watching the World Pool Series. You'll see the matches.
I saw the break. I saw the break cue.
A new break cue that we did not start to advertise yet. So that'd be interesting.
I've seen it. I saw, was it Chris Melling?
Chris Melling just won his match with it, then Darren won his match with it. Chris Melling was on TV. I think he played against Lee Van, both great players.
RYO break cue. Coming soon?
Coming soon.
So those are just prototypes?
Those are our pros. So all of our Predator pros get the first try for a few weeks or a few months.
Okay, but that's a natural extension of the shaft. Now the break cue.
Right.
But what are we looking at? Does Paul have any? Is he in his laboratory concocting some sort of crazy ideas for the future?
Yes,
Can you give us a little hint on what kind of things are we looking at in pool?
I'd say something tailored to your game.
Custom tailored to your game.
To your game, to your style, to what you love. Based on how you play technically, but also what you love aesthetically and what you're comfortable with. So that's going to be the future.
I get it. Now I see it. Some sort of app where you can put in all your details or something. Maybe take a video of yourself and send it into Predator, and Predator designs a carbon fiber or something or other just for you. Is that it? Did I figure it out?
Maybe.
Something like that.
I won't tell you, Ted.
Okay, all right.
Just keep up with us, and you'll see me at more events. You'll see Paul, and we'll be talking about that maybe in our next interview.
Okay, great. Karim, thanks for coming in. Hey, the face behind Predator. You see the logo everywhere. Now we know who's behind it. It's a fascinating.
Thanks, Ted. You gave me too much credit. It's our team. We have an amazing team.
No, it is. Yes.
The team kicks ass.
Right. Okay.
Sorry about my choice of.
Oh no, it's fine. It's YouTube. It's not a problem. Okay, Karim Belhaj, the CEO and owner of Predator Group.